So my plan was to get here like 10 minutes before everybody shows up, but that of course did not happen. So thank you for beating me here. My name is Caitlin Caggiano. This is Rhythm Guitar Wisdom. I am so excited to be here with you all at ReFuel. I'm from Florida, and this is my first time at this conference. I do quite a bit of traveling, but I don't usually travel to places like this at this time of year. So this is actually beautiful for me. I love it. This is really exciting. My hands are a little bit cold. I packed plenty of hand warmers. Who all in here, is this your first time at this conference?
Yep.
So you're like me. Are you guys all from Indiana? All over the place?
Yeah, Michigan.
Michigan? Okay. Anybody from Florida? No? Okay. Well, I'm really excited to be here. I'll just say a little bit about myself, then we'll get started here. My name's Caitlin Caggiano. I love to teach this instrument. I have literally sacrificed everything to get to where I am to teach this to as many people as humanly possible. But I love what I do. I've been playing guitar for a long time. I've been teaching guitar for almost 20 years, which is crazy for me to think about, but I seriously have been teaching guitar for almost 20 years. I got my degree in classical guitar at the University of Central Florida. I have done about everything you can do with the instrument. I've played, I've toured, I've traveled. I currently have a show at, I know this is a worship guitar class, but I have a show at Disney World in Orlando, Florida, called the Guitar Shred Experience, which is so fun. If you're ever in Florida, or if you're ever in Orlando, definitely check that out. But I do a lot in the worship world. My favorite thing to do on this instrument is to, one, teach people how to speak the language of music on this instrument, but also to be able to worship. And I believe it is so important to understand your instrument and to really acquire such a great skill set of your instrument and understand the divine nature of music so that you can speak fluently what God has put on your heart. I get a little weird with this. I think music is actually one of the tongues. And I do believe scripturally you should be able to, someone should be able to translate that. And I believe if we understand how to speak this instrument, we can do it very well. Fluency is a big part of what we're doing here. So I love this. I play at a smaller church in Orlando. I used to play, it was in the mega church world, and I left that. And I'm now playing maybe once or twice a month on a volunteer team, and it is so refreshing. I've kind of tried to remove myself a little bit from the worship industry, and every time I remove myself more and more people call me back to get into it more, because I'm sure everybody understands the ministry has become an industry, and I don't like money associated to what I do when I teach or worship. So things like this, though, are absolutely amazing when you're with a good group of people. But that's enough about me. I am definitely not a normal guitar teacher. I'm not going to teach you just how to play Sweet Home Alabama or things like that. We're going to learn how to speak the language of music on the instrument today, and I'm very excited. Whether you're a rhythm player or lead player, these classes are going to be great. Over there is a bunch of fun stuff. So I think the most important thing we'll start with is the Sweetwater gift card. All you have to do to make this happen is take a picture or video of this class at any time. You can literally do it right now while I'm blabbering on. All you need to do is post it to your Instagram story. Not TikTok, obviously, because that's being canceled, but post it to your Instagram story. Tag me, make sure you're following me at Caitlin Guitar, super creative handle. And I know it says Experience Conference, those are from the last conference, at ReFuel Conference. Do not tag Experience Conference, please, at ReFuel Conference. So just post a video or a picture of this. Maybe say that you learned something, that would be amazing, but just tag me, tag ReFuel in the story, and I will gather all of those, and you'll be entered to win a $100 Sweetwater gift card. You can buy anything you want with that. You can buy 1/20th of a quad cortex, so just enjoy that, okay? But definitely follow me on Instagram. I give away a lot of free tips almost every day. If you scan that QR code, I'm going to actually show you what that will lead you to. There is so much free stuff that I want to give you, so let me get through with this before we start the class, okay? Before we get, y'all, I'm a Mac person, so it's embarrassing how long all of this took me today. So if you scan that, it's going to take you to my link tree. This first thing on here, I am hosting a free guitar boot camp. It's going to be a virtual boot camp, live and recorded the last week of January. It's just 1 hour each of these nights. We're going to be covering everything that will help give you the foundation to take you from beginner, intermediate, hobbyist to actually what a pro level musician needs. I'm so excited about that. It's completely free. I'm all about just equipping as many people as possible. definitely take advantage of this. You just put your email in, all the information gets sent to you. I do teach one-on-one Zoom lessons, so if you are interested in that, definitely check that out. I am doing some online courses, but if you sign up for this, you're going to get like these bundled for a ridiculous price. Everybody today is going to be able to get a free video course on how to identify things on the fretboard formulas course. These are some classes that I teach weekly, if you're interested in those. These are the things that we're going to be talking about today. This capo chart, this is rhythm guitar wisdom, right? Yeah. Yes. This capo chart is going to be very beneficial. That's the main thing we're going to be using today. If you click on that, you just put your email and it gets sent to you. But we are going to be talking about the Cage major skill diagram in my next class. We are going to talk about the Cage blueprint a little bit today, but all the resources will be in here. I do have this video I did with Premier Guitar called a capo hack. This is basically a summary of what we're going to do today. So if you're like, she talked for way too long, give me a 5-minute, 10-minute summary, look at that video, okay? That should be it. Let me get to this. Here we go. Yeah, okay, wow, I did that much faster than I thought I was going to. Okay, who's excited? I'm very excited. I'm excited people filled up this room. This is so thrilling to me. So, does anybody know who I am? Have you heard of me at all before? Because I do some conferences in Orlando and like people kind of know me, so they show up. So this is very encouraging. If you had no idea who I was and you showed up, this makes me so happy. So raise your hand if you are a primarily acoustic rhythm guitar player. Primarily acoustic. Okay, great. What about our rhythm electric players? Okay. Is anybody in here like a lead guitar player? That's really what you categorize yourself as, but okay, well, thank you for joining us down here in our low positions of rhythm guitar. Just kidding. I'm going to talk about why I think rhythm guitar is so important, but thank you for joining us. Is anybody in here wanting to ever become a lead guitar player? Okay, the things you will learn in this class will actually help you with that. Yeah, fantastic. Who in here is like, you're the only guitarist at your church or on your worship team? Okay, very, very good. Excellent. Well, let's get into it today. So my goal today is to, one, take out the guesswork of using the capo. I want to talk about how we can, I always say two things. We need to be in control of what we're doing, but we also need to serve the song. Serve the song would be in control of what we're doing. We're going to talk about how we can easily identify where that capo is going to be placed. I'm going to talk about the concept of key shape. The second thing that we're going to talk about today, we're going to be talking about how we can form chord voicings. Voicing is a fancy word for just the notes that are stacked up together on the strings. How we can form chord voicings that work beautifully in the worship world. And there's no bar chords needed for any of this, okay? I actually don't really play bar chords a lot because the intonation can get a little weird, but these chord voicings are going to be absolutely beautiful and they're very simple to play, okay? So are we all familiar with what a capo is? Excellent. I teach a lot of international students online, and depending on where the student is from, sometimes it's a capo or a capo. Has anybody ever called it a capo before here? Okay, I had a student in the UK last week, and it was capo this, capo that. I'm like, it's hard to go back and forth, so we're going to call it a capo today. I've got I'm supposed to say this because they give me these, the G7th capo. These are truly amazing, the Nashville capo. I usually like the adjustable capos, but if you ever want a very quick change capo, the G7th Nashville capo is fantastic. Yes, so let's get going here today. We know what a capo is. We feel confident with this. Does anybody feel like a lesser guitar player when you take this out of your gig bag? No. We feel okay? Oh, okay, some people. Okay, thank you for being honest, because I used to be in that world. It's okay. It's totally fine. So the capo sometimes doesn't get enough respect. The capo is designed to create beautiful voicings. And obviously it does make things easy, but it is so important to, when you have a tool, to know how to use it. It's not a crutch, it is a creative tool, okay? Before we get into the capo, let me say this real quick. Sometimes when in the worship team or any band setting, the rhythm guitar player, or let's even put the acoustic guitar player, is usually the one who just, because I was in this world for a long time, oh, they're the least experienced musician on the team. They're the acoustic guitar player. Has anybody ever felt like that at all? Okay, you don't have to raise your hand if you don't, but it's so important that we understand the purpose of the rhythm guitar, especially the acoustic guitar. The acoustic guitar is like the click track with strings. You keep time and you add texture. Okay, it is such an important instrument. So please, if you ever have felt, oh, I'm just the acoustic player, never say that, okay? Because it is so important what you're doing. In the world we're living in today, in our society, so many of these instruments are computer generated or digitally generated. Even though I am playing a piece of wood with strings, it's going through a lot of processing. The acoustic guitar reminds us of God as a creator, because I hear a tree every time I hear that. I feel His creative touch on nature. I feel the divine presence of God as a creator when I hear an acoustic guitar. It is so important to recognize sometimes these instruments are more than just the sound that they're producing. So it's such a beautiful thing to have an acoustic guitar on the stage. There was nothing more beautiful than when Josh Baldwin was just breaking it down on the acoustic guitar today. He's like my all-time favorite worship leader. He's just amazing. But when it's just him and an acoustic guitar, like, it's great when he's with a full band, but if it's just him on that acoustic guitar, I feel closer to God. It is such a beautiful thing. So we are all very aware of how sacred the acoustic guitar is, as well as the capo. So if I said, okay guys, we're gonna play a song in the key of B flat, we'd probably reach for the capo, right? Yeah. And probably go to capo 3, where we can play it as if it's in G or something like that, okay? I wanna talk to you about the concept of key shape. Has anybody ever heard the term key shape before? Key shape is the shape of the one chord. Are we familiar with what a one chord is? Okay, if I'm in the key of C, my one chord is C. If I'm into the key of G, my one chord is G, okay? The shape of the one chord. Have you heard of the cage system before? Okay, we're gonna talk, I call myself a cage system evangelist. We're gonna be talking a lot about the cage system today, but there are always 5 shapes of playing anything on the guitar. We have the open C shape, the A shape, the G shape, the E shape, and the D shape. There are 5 key shapes you can play anything on the guitar. These are going to be the key shapes of C, A, G, E, and D. These are the open shapes, okay? So if I'm gonna be playing a song in the key of C, I can play it as if I'm obviously in the key of C, but as it looks like I'm in the key of C because the shape looks like C. I can also play it with the capo where it looks like I'm in the key of A, where another capo position where it looks like I'm in the key of G, in the key of E, and in the key of D. Now, if I capoed up and looked like I was playing in the key of C or the key of G, I'm not actually playing in that key. That is the key shape. So does that make sense a little bit here? If I place my capo on the 3rd fret and I played a song where this is my 1 chord, this is my 4 chord, that looks like I'm in the key of G, but I'm not. I'm in the key of B flat, so the key shape is G. So far we're good with that concept? Perfect. Again, there's that Premier Guitar Capo Hack video that I go through all of this, okay? I always say as well, sometimes people get frustrated when they're learning music. 2 very important things. Whenever you're learning anything theoretical with music, whether it's fretboard theory or actual music theory, please view it like you're planting seeds. Nothing might pop out of the ground immediately, but you have planted that seed, nourish it, water it, give it sun every day, something will pop out of the ground. The second thing, if you are ever learning anything, if you ever take a guitar lesson and you leave confused, not like, oh, I understand what's going on, it's gonna take me a while for this to manifest, but if you leave confused, something's been wrong. Something was wrong when you were taught. Music was created by God. It is a language created by God, and God is a God of order, not confusion, not chaos. It should be taught where even if it is a broader or a more intense, advanced concept, it should be taught with clarity. So I hope nobody leaves here confused, but please keep that in mind. And I believe when music is taught the correct way, it will point to God as a creator. Yep. I have incredible stories from students from all different religions that have actually come to know God the Father and Christ because of the way that I've taught music theory, which is absolutely amazing. Also, if we as children could learn the English alphabet of 26 letters, we're only dealing with 12 notes here. Now we're only going to deal with 7 in the major scale. So we should have no problem with this, okay? Fluency and formula. Formula and fluency over forced memorization. Okay, we're going to talk about that a lot in my lead guitar class. Okay, so we've got 5 key shapes we can play anything in, because we have the 5 shapes of the cage system. So I'm gonna do this for the key of C, okay? I'm gonna break down the cage system here. If you are unfamiliar with the cage system, it's basically 5 shapes of playing any chord. That is a very basic way of explaining it, okay? I have plenty of videos on my Instagram. Some of the pinned ones I think are cage system stuff. Just go on my Instagram, you'll hear something about the cage system. It's actually not that difficult to understand. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to explain how we actually find these 5 key shapes, because these key shapes will show us our capo locations. Sometimes I'm with a worship leader and we're like, okay, we're going to be playing this in F sharp or G flat. Okay, what happens when I put my capo on 1? What happens when I put my capo on 2? What about this? And they're doing this math in their head, and I love math. My dream was to be a math teacher, but I did something practical like play guitar. But I always loved math, so I'm all about that, but I know a lot of people aren't. So I want to take the guesswork and the mathematical equation out of this. There's always going to be 5 key shapes. There's always going to be 5 capo locations. Here's how you find it. I know I'm not playing an acoustic guitar. I can only fly with an electric. So pretend this is an acoustic guitar, but I even use the capo on an electric guitar. Okay, you're not a noob if you use a capo on the electric guitar. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how you can find the 5 key shapes and capo locations for any key. I'm going to do this for the key of C. Are we familiar with what a key is? The way that I actually define a key, this, even if you know what a key is, this might help you understand it even more. I like to say a key is a musical environment or ecosystem in which a song is living in which a song has been created. And I like to think of songs as living things. In our world here, if we have different environments, different ecosystems, there's a certain set of rules that everything needs to abide by for life to survive in that ecosystem. In a musical key, in this musical ecosystem, the set of rules that all the notes, everything in that song has to abide by is the key's major scale. So if I'm in the key of C, everything in that song, the vocal melody, the bass line, the guitar part, needs to come from the 7 notes of the C major scale. Okay, now obviously music is an artistic realm, it's a creative realm, and we have artists that break these rules. Thank God, that makes it a beautiful thing. But most worship music is what we refer to as diatonic, meaning no rules have been broken, okay? Hopefully that helps you understand a little bit better. I had like a 7-year-old student that I taught that term, like, that's actually a good metaphor. Anyway, let's keep going here. So what I'm gonna do here, we're gonna find the 5 capo locations and 5 key shapes for the key of C. Now, obviously, if you're playing a song in the key of C, other than like the F chord, if you play it as a bar, you have all these open chords, so no problem. But let's do it with the key of C because it's easy to think about, okay? The way that I do this, it's actually very simple. All I need to do are find the 5 cage system shapes of the 1 chord of the key that you're in. So let's say I'm in the key of C. What is the 1 chord of the key of C? C major chord. There we go. Let me find the 5 cage system shapes of the C chord, okay? This is how I do this. Now again, there's plenty of videos on here, and I'm totally fine if you want to come up here, videotape this, take pictures, whatever you want to do. Yeah, it's your class, you do what you want to do. I'm just teaching it, okay? So I've got the C chord in the C shape. Now, to find the C chord in the A shape, it's a very simple formula and fluency over forced memorization. Go to the furthest fret. The furthest fret, which would be, if I form this, it's where that furthest finger would be. That would be the 3rd fret. That's where the index finger bar will be placed for the next shape, which is C in the A shape. And actually, while I'm doing this, let me open this up so you can actually see this on here. And I'll blow this up and kind of scroll down for the other ones as well. But I have diagrams. I'm very visual. I have diagrams on everything. So that was just that. I call this the furthest fret rule. C in the C shape, furthest fret, bar down, C in the A shape. We're going to do that furthest fret rule again. 5th fret, bar goes down for C in the G shape. Same rule, furthest fret, 8th fret, bar goes down for C in the E shape. The next shape is the D shape, same rule applies. Furthest fret is the 10th fret, bar goes down for C in the D shape. Now, we can also do what I refer to as completing the cycle, because the cage system is a cyclical system. The fretboard is actually cyclical. I have this whole thing that I do where I teach on cyclical style of playing, which I don't think many people, I think I might have created that term or something, but I love it and it's very, very cool. When you go from the D shape, you can actually go back into the C shape. That's what I refer to as completing the cycle. When you do that, the rule will change by 1 fret. Instead of going to the furthest fret, which would be the 13th fret, you go back by 1 fret. This is now the 12th fret. The bar goes down for C in the C shape again. So let's break this down one more time. C in the C shape, furthest fret, bar down, C in the A shape, furthest fret, bar down, C in the G shape, furthest fret, bar down, C in the E shape, furthest fret, bar down, C in the D shape. If I want to keep going, I can, but if I've got all 5, I've got all 5, okay? Now, if you're looking at this thinking my fingers cannot do this, they don't have to. 2 things when learning anything cage system related. 1, Sound quality is not our goal. The goal is visualization. You do not need to do this perfectly. If you can look at this diagram and this makes sense, you can find where to put your capo, okay? So if I'm doing this like weird tree frog alien finger things over here, do not freak out. The second thing, stay in the present moment and trust the process. I get a lot of rhythm guitar players saying, I don't need to know the cage system because I just play open chords. Everything we're learning today is coming from the cage system, okay? So I do have a chart here. Let me just show this to you. The way that I do my diagrams is basically if you take a guitar and you hold it like this, it should look like that, okay? The roots are in red, the thirds are in yellow, the fifths are in blue. You can ignore all that. We don't need to talk about that theory stuff right now. But you can see these are the notes of a C chord. That's a C in the C shape. You can see furthest fret is the 3rd fret. There is a C in the A shape. Furthest fret is the C in the G, 5th fret. C in the G shape is right here. That's where that bar would be. Furthest fret is the 8th fret. Here's the C in the E shape. Furthest fret is the 10th fret. There's the C in the D shape. At the bottom are all of them connected. So you can see how I did that complete the cycle, and you can see them there. So does this kind of make sense just looking at it? Okay, it might make your fingers hurt to think about doing this, but we don't have to do that. Okay, if you can at least visualize this. Part of the problem with guitar playing, part of the reason why people always plateau and they never go where they want to be, is we try to absorb all of this and do all of this on the fretboard at once. Try to look at it and understand where this is going to be on the guitar before you play it. I have to play for something tonight for this thing. I listen to the songs on the plane here. I'm visualizing where the parts are on the guitar. Now, hopefully when I sound check with these people tonight, it's going to sound good. But I already in my mind know where things are. Think about that. Sometimes you just immediately read a tab or pick up the guitar and it's just a mess. If I'm going to be driving somewhere I've never gone before, I want to look at the map first, okay? I know people also don't do that now. They just get in their guitar, they get in their car and they just ask Siri where they're going. Anyway, so does that make sense so far?
Yep.
Any questions on that before we talk about where the capo comes into play? Okay. Every place that my index finger bar was is a capo location. Now I know the first one was C and that's an open position. Open position is also a capo location. We're going to refer to that as one of the 5. Every place that I put my index finger bar is a capo location. So if I was in the key of C, I can do open, no capo obviously. I could do capo 3, I could do capo 5, I could do capo 8, I could do capo 10. 0, 3, 5, 8, and 10. You can tell I love numbers, right? The only numbers I don't love are tablature. I like sight reading, but I digress. The place you put your index finger bar is the capo location. The shape of the cage system shape related to what your fingers were doing is the key shape. So let's do this without the capo first, and then we'll get into it. I can play a song in the key of C in the open position with no capo. This is my first option. Open position with no capo in the key of C and the key shape of C. I can do this with capo on the 3rd fret, still key of C, but it's going to be the key shape of A. I can do this with capo on 5, still in the key of C, but it's going to be the key shape of G. I can do this with capo 8, still in the key of C, but it's going to look like I'm in E. It's going to be the key shape of E. I can do this with capo 10, still in the key of C, but now the key shape of D. So I have 5 capo locations for the key of C. Now I'm going to do this here. I'm just going to do this for the 1 chord first. I'm going to do this for a 1, 4, 5, 6 chord progression. If I'm playing a song in the key of C, here's my 1 chord in the key shape of C. I could do capo 3. Here's my 1 chord. It's A, key shape of A. I could do capo 5. Here's my 1 chord. I could do key shape of G. Capo 8. Here's my 1 chord, key shape of E. I could do capo 10. Key of C, but now key shape of D. There's my 1 chord of D, the shape of D. That's just the 1 chord. We're going to do a 1, 4, 5, 6 chord progression here, but any questions so far? Okay. Let's do a are we familiar with a 1, 4, 5, 6 chord progression in the key of C? 1 would be C, 4 would be F, 5 would be G, and 6 would be A minor. I love it. Love it. Okay. So, in the key shape, here's my first option for playing a song in the key of C. Key shape of C, no capo. 1 chord of C, 4 chord of F, 5 chord of G, 6 chord of A minor, okay? Now I'm going to talk about the voicings that I'm using here, but bear with me. The second option, 1, 4, 5, 6 in the key of C, key shape of A, capo 3, 1, 4, 5, 6. Still in the key of C, the key shape of A. My next option, capo 5. Key shape of G. My 1, my 4, my 5, my 6. Okay? Next option, capo 8. Getting a little high. I usually don't like going past like the 6th or 7th fret, but I just want to show you this is possible, okay? My 1 of E, key shape of E, my 1, my 4, my 5, my minor 6. My last option, capo 10, key shape of D, my 1, my 4, my 5, my minor 6. Same 4 chords, 5 different options, okay? Now I'm going to break down the voicings that I recommend doing with this, but is this concept kind of making sense? Okay, somebody give me a key you absolutely despise. I'm not going to make you do it, you're going to make me do it. What's a key you absolutely hate seeing on Planning Center?
F sharp.
F sharp? Okay. We're going to call it G flat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a flat girl. I love the flats. Just because I don't like talking about E double sharp. I don't know who does, so I like thinking about G flat. Because if you're in F sharp, the 7th would be E double sharp. I don't like that. Anyway, let's keep it. I'm sorry, no, the 7th would be E sharp. I don't like thinking about E sharp. There shouldn't be a sharp on the E. So we'll call it F sharp though, because most people do. You'll find in genres and styles that guitar players compose for, like worship music and country music and rock, it's always F sharp because we learn things, bar chords from low to high. So let's call it F sharp here. Most people call it F sharp? Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to find the 5 cage system shapes of F sharp. The way that you do that, you first need to just find one note. I'm all about I'm a bottom line type of woman. Like, just give me that one note and then we can connect everything. All I need to find is F sharp on the A string. I believe the A string is the most important string on the guitar because it is the lowest root of the C shape. If you can find the lowest root of the C shape and you can connect everything cyclically, that's all you need to know. So F sharp on the A string. Anybody know where that is off the top of your head? It's going to be on the 9th fret. Okay, think where's G, and then one behind G, G's 10, so it's the 9th fret. This is the lowest root of the C shape. If I can find the root, I can form an F sharp in the C shape. You can also just take that diagram and kind of move it around. This is an F sharp in the C shape. You can also probably Google F sharp in the 5 shapes. I do have this available in all keys if you want it. Connect with me. I think it actually might be on my website, but just connect with me and I will put that in your hands, okay? I do have everything in every key. I'm that type of, I can't tell you what any Netflix show is right now, but I spend all my free time making guitar diagrams, okay? I have no life outside of this. I'm 33 and not married. I have no life outside of this. So we've got F sharp in the C shape. Let's go to our furthest fret rule, right? Furthest fret, 9th fret, bar down. Here's F sharp in the A shape. Furthest fret is the 11th fret, bar down, F sharp in the G shape. Furthest fret is the 14th fret, bar down, F sharp in the E shape. Now, it is so important that we understand the guitar from the nut of the guitar to the 12th fret. Everything up here we don't need to care about right now, okay? So what I'm going to do is whenever you have a shape where the index finger bar is either on or past the 12th fret, we're going to take it down the octave, we're going to take it down the fretboard. We do not need to do this for the key of C because the key of C fits perfectly across the fretboard because I have that open position, okay? So this is the first shape of F sharp that I have my index finger bar on or past the 12th fret. I had F sharp in the C shape, F sharp in the A shape, F sharp in the G shape, then F sharp in the E shape. I'm going to take this down the octave. The way you do that, whatever fret your index finger bar is on, subtract that fret number by 12. 14 minus 12, you're like, she should have been a math teacher. 14 minus 12 is 2. Shift that down F sharp in the E shape to 2. Okay? You can also see the cyclical nature of this, right? Here we go, we're going to connect it. Furthest fret, bar down, F sharp in the D shape. Now if I wanted to complete my cycle, I can do second to last fret, bar down, F sharp in the C shape. That is as complicated as the cage system ever needs to be. Nobody teaches it like that. I don't know why. I've actually created 2 ways of learning the cage system. One is the cyclical approach, one's the directional approach. If you are interested, let me know. I will talk your ear off about it. But those are my 5 shapes of F sharp. So let's think about our capo location. So if I see F sharp on the planning center, I'm like, oh gosh, what are my go-to shapes? I think I did something with fret number 2, capo 2, so what do I do here? I can't play it in the key shape of G, so screw F sharp, right? We hate that. I'm sorry. So I've got F sharp in the C shape. So my first option is capo 6. Playing it as if I'm in the key of C, key shape of C. My second option is capo 9, playing it as if I'm in the key of A. key shape of A. Next option, third option is capo 11, playing it as if I'm in G, probably going to be too high. Next option is capo 2, playing it as if I'm in E, in the key shape of E. Next option, the final option, is capo 4, playing it as if I'm in D, the key shape of D. Okay, so if I did a 1, 4, 5, 6 chord progression in the key of F sharp, let's just go through the cycle here. The first one is, okay. Okay, next one, fret 9. That's fine, right? Just to show you that it can be done. It's squeaky up there. It's a cheap Charvel. Okay, so I love this guitar. It's my travel guitar. Okay, so now E. That one sounds nice. I'd probably use that. That's the Reckless Love voicings. And then, so those are, if I'm in the key of F sharp, no problem. Okay? The reason why I teach things within the cage system, the reason why I teach this like cyclical approach to everything where I'm starting with C. Did you notice when I did those 5 capo locations, I didn't just start with what's closest to the nut of the guitar? Nothing in music should ever feel at random. Nothing you're learning on the guitar should ever feel like it's at random. If I'm trying to find the 5 capo locations for the key of F sharp or G flat and I start, okay, capo 2, if I now do it for the key of E flat, am I going to still start in the same shape? No. If I do it for the key of C, am I still going to start in that same shape that I started for F sharp? No. If you do things cyclically in the cage system and always start with the C shape, it is the same formula every single time. Find one note on the A string, F sharp or G flat. Step 2, form the C shape. Step 3, do that furthest fret formula, connect the shapes. If it's on or past the 12th fret, take that bar down 12 frets. It will be like that every single time. This is the secret to mastering the entire instrument. This is the secret right here to mastering the fretboard. This is where somebody who might not know any theory, maybe you just know Nashville number system, and if you can learn the notes on the A string and you understand this formula, even if you can't play these perfectly, you'll never be lost again. You will always feel control. You will always feel in control of what you're doing. I don't know why more people don't teach on this. It's just crazy to me. But it makes a lot of sense in my mind. Does this make sense so far? Okay. Do we know what time? Are we good on time? Yeah, it started late too. I'm not gonna get in trouble. Any questions on this before I talk about the chord voicings that I've been using here so I can eliminate all bar chords? Because sometimes like we avoid the key shape of A or the key of A because there's that F sharp minor, or sometimes we avoid the key of C because there's the F chord. We're gonna fall, we're not only going to not be afraid of these chords anymore, we're going to fall in love with these chords. Okay, so if you walked in this room with any bar chord, like, oh, I hate playing a B minor, I hate playing an F sharp, I hate playing an F, whatever it is, I hate playing a B major chord, and so much stuff is in B, right? Not only do I want to take away the intimidation factor of this, I want you to leave this room falling in love with these chords, wanting to open up your guitar case and play these chords because they're gorgeous, okay? So any questions on the capo theory before we actually do get into that? Have we learned something so far? Okay, good. I love it. So this is usually the part of the class where people are like, this was either really good or she's just so much of a nerd, I can't handle it right now. Guys, this is why. And when I say I'm 33 and still single, yes, my life is a bit crazy with what I do, but I think it's just because I'm a nerd. Any women that are in here, I think there might be 1 or 2. If you ever do go on a date, don't start talking about music theory. It is a turnoff. They do not call back, okay? They do not. So they want to get as far away as possible. So anyway, let's jump into the chord voicings. Chord voicings are so important because I truly believe music is a language and music is communication. And I am so sick and tired of the worship culture always thinking worship leader is a singer. It is a vocalist. If you are on a platform, no matter what your instrument is, you are a worship leader. So please think of that when you are at church. I don't care if you're a volunteer. I don't care if you've been playing for 2 months. You are a worship leader. And there is such a reverence to that. It is such a sacred thing. There's no greater calling in life than that. Okay, so please don't ever be discouraged thinking, I'm not a worship leader. You are, okay? And you might know more music theory than the singer. It's usually what happens. So anyway, worship leaders. Yes, question.
Sorry, this might sound stupid.
Not at all.
When I was out, but
Half the things I've said so far today sound stupid. Yeah.
I get like everything in the C major, like C
Yeah.
shape, A shape, etc. And if you're playing in a different key,
Mhm.
is it just the same shape for that key, or is it still?
It's exactly the same shapes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna show it to you for 1, 4, 5, 6 chord progression. We're gonna do it for the key of C, then we're gonna do it for like E flat or something.
Okay.
Yeah, all the shapes are the same.
Okay.
That's why if you learn if you learn the formula, you plug any key into it, and it's so easy. Very good question. But worship leaders are leading people to the throne, but they're also communicating to a congregation a word that God has put on their heart. Okay? Spontaneity is such an important aspect of worship leading, because you have to, the Holy Spirit is very romantic, and there are moments where like you just see different sides of the Holy Spirit, and there's moments that the Holy Spirit starts speaking to you in ways you've never heard it before, and you need to communicate that to the congregation. And if you haven't been thinking these things, please start thinking about them. This is not just, okay, you get the songs on Sunday, you look up on your YouTube tutorials and that's it. This is a life or death situation for me. Like this is a very important calling that's placed upon your life. So if the Holy Spirit speaks a word to you, if God puts a word on your heart, how are you supposed to communicate that to the congregation if you don't speak the language? This is where I say music is a tongue. If God puts a word on my heart, I know how to communicate it through this instrument because I speak the language fluently. Now, when I say speak the language, you don't have to understand music theory. You don't have to understand everything about music theory. We've really not talked a lot about theory today. But are you understanding, if I can learn this formula, I will be able to understand my instrument a bit more. We're going to be going more in depth with that in the lead guitar class if you are interested about it, but rhythm guitar players should be thinking this way as well. Okay? Does that make sense? Beautiful. So, yes?
So let's say you capoed on the 3rd fret,
Mm-hmm.
and you had your A shape.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know what shape the next chord's going to be?
Very
When
good.
you do 1, 4, 5, 6.
We're going to talk about that. That's where the that's where the voicings are going to be. Obviously, if it's a chord progression of 1, 4, 5, 6, that's what we're going to use. I'm going to play 1, 4, 5, 6. But chord voicings are so important because chord voicings will allow you to voice chords in a certain way where you can actually create direction and you can communicate effectively. That was a perfect, thank you. Guys, I paid him to ask that question because it's a perfect segue into where we're about to go. Music is communication, and communication is so important. I'm communicating to you right now in a language we all understand. If I'm talking to you in this class, if I just start turning around and talking this way and I'm facing the screen, it's probably not going to be a very effective class. Direction is so important when it comes to communication. Chord voicings will allow you to direct exactly what you need to say, and it will allow you to speak efficiently and effectively. It is so important to understand beautiful chord voicings and creative chord voicings that can work outside of just these like cowboy chords, if we're used to calling them that, or bar chords, okay? So I'm going to show you a 1, 4, 5, 6 chord progression in the 5 key shapes. Now, just for the sake of time, I'm going to do all of this in an open position, but I'm going to show you the difference. I'm going to do like an A and B test with all of these. I'm going to do it the way we would probably normally play them, with the bar chords that we probably don't like, and then the new way. And you watch the difference here. I'm going to just, give me a second, because I realize now I didn't tune when I walked in here. I love this guitar. This is like an $800 Charvel guitar, and it's great because I don't have to worry about like if I drop it or something. But I played in drop D for something last night for a rehearsal, and then I'm in E today, and everything got screwed up. It's wonderful. So, anyway. Okay, 1, 4, 5, 6 in the key shape of C. Obviously, this is going to look like I'm in the key of C because it's just an open position. My 1 is C, my 4 is F, my 5 is G, my 6 is A minor. What I'm about to show you is one of many options, but these are my worship. When I was like in high school, I remember I saw Phil Wickham back before he was like Phil Wickham, back when he looked like Keith Urban with dark hair, like back when nobody knew who he was. And I think there was 1 or 2 shows. I made sure I got there to the very front because I was so interested in the voicings that he was using. And so these are my Phil Wickham voicings. He's the first one that I ever saw do these, and they're absolutely gorgeous, and I use these all the time. And I was actually blessed. I've actually worked with Phil and done multiple conferences with him, and I was really cool that I was able to say I teach. Literally the conference I was doing with him, I taught a class on the voicings that I learned from him, and he didn't even realize it. He's like, I had no idea. He's like, they just sounded good to me. So it's a beautiful thing when an artist will develop something naturally and we can now quantify it and share it with other people. I love that. So my 1 is C. What I'm going to do for my 4 chord, I'm just going to place my pinky finger right underneath my ring finger. This is technically an F sus2 chord, but I use this anytime I have a 4 chord in the key or key shape of C. For the 5 chord of G, I'm going to take this shape right here, which is very simple. It's a ring, a pinky, and an index, and I slide it up 2 frets. I actually use my thumb to mute that low E string because I don't need it. The beautiful thing about this is I don't have anything heavy in the bass. So my bass player can be a bass player, and it's just so beautiful. What I'm going to do for the A minor, I'm going to shift this up another 2 frets, but I'm going to move my index finger directionally up 1 string. And you can even open up that A string if you want. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, you don't have to use all of these in one sitting. That might be too dissonant for some people, but I love it. I'm a dissonant girl. I love that. So here was the original. Here's the new one. Do you see how things are moving in the right direction? If you close your eyes, can you visualize the sound? It's so important for a musician to see what they're playing. Okay, not like see what they're playing, but can I see the direction of these notes? That is herky-jerky, that is all over the place. If I want to communicate something to you and I want it to hit you right in the chest, I want to be as effective as possible. Even if you did like a different progression, everything is moving so beautifully. Okay, does that make sense so far? So that's the key shape, or obviously the key of C, okay? Key shape of C. So if I'm in the key of C sharp or D flat and I capo 1, I could do those. If I'm in the key of E flat, I could capo 3, do those. We're gonna go through that. Any questions on key shape of C before we move to the key shape of A? Yes?
You named real briefly.
Yeah.
I think it was for your G shape.
Mm-hmm.
You have nothing heavy
Yeah.
to allow your bass player
Correct.
to be a bass player.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking through this stuff in the voicings,
Mm-hmm.
how does it shift when you're playing by yourself?
Very good
Or
question.
playing with the
Very
team?
good. Obviously, you want to play for the situation, the environment that you're in. So let's say I don't have a bass player. I might want to maybe throw the G and the bass there with my thumb. I might want to alter it. It's so important when you learn something like this. Use it as a foundation and build upon it. You might be thrown into a situation where our bass player is sick and we don't have a bass player. We literally have an acoustic guitar and a keyboard and a drummer. What do we do? Obviously, we might need to change some things, okay? In a normal worship setting, let's say you had drums, bass, keyboard, electric guitar, and acoustic guitar, this would probably be chef's kiss, okay? I'm very Italian, Caggiano, I talk with my hands, so yes, you probably noticed that already. Mathematical and talks with her hands, she's a weird one. But does that make sense?
Yeah.
Use it as a baseline and a foundation and add, you can change these however you want. And again, this is one option of voicings, okay? Key shape of A. My 1 chord of A, my 4 chord of D, my 5 chord of E, my 6 chord of F sharp minor, ugh, bar, right? Let's get rid of it. For my 1 chord of A, you can obviously do this. I take my ring finger off though. It's technically an A sus2, but nothing sounds more worshipful than an A sus2 as my 1 chord when I'm in the key or key shape of A, right? My 4 chord of D, I'm also gonna do a D sus2. I'm just gonna remove the middle finger. Beautiful. For my 5 chord of E, we can just leave him the way he is. He did nothing wrong. And then for the F sharp, I'm going to take the bar off, but place my index finger bar on the 2nd fret of the G string. Another situation where I can either put the bass for the thumb or take it off. So here was my first original voicings. Remember, let's visualize, okay? Not bad, right? Now, not as much direction as the key shape of C, but did you notice consistency in the voices? Consistency in the actual notes. I have a high E open. I have a high E open. I have a high E and a B open. For the A, I had the B and the high E open. For the F sharp, I have the high E open and the B open. For multiple chord changes, the voices stay consistent. So when it comes to chord voicings, if you want to be a very effective rhythm guitar player, choose your voicings where you will have efficiency in direction or consistency in the voices or the actual notes. Make sense? Perfect. Any questions on that before we move to the key shape of G? This one actually might look familiar. Josh Baldwin was doing a ton of these today. Got me all hyped up for this class. So he's got it. Okay, so key shape of G. 1 is G. 4 is C or C9. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with these. D, 5 is D, 6 is E minor. I like doing that with that. Consistency of voices. I always do an E minor with those two there to keep things consistent. But nothing really wrong with that. Maybe a little herky-jerky, but consistency of voices if I keep my ring and pinky down. Let's change it a bit. I've got a G chord. My 4 chord of C, you could do a C9. You could also just do a normal C. I like adding the 5th, the highest voice here. For the D chord, people might have already played this. We're just going to shift this up by 2 frets. You can take the high E open if you want. And then for the E minor, I'm simply going to shift this up by 2 frets, but I'm going to take my index finger and middle off and I flat that 3rd because it's a minor chord. It's still coming from the C shape. Everything is related to a cage system shape. Ring and index on 7 and 5 on the A and D string. You can put the 5th in the highest voice. You can actually also play the G chord in the C shape up here if you want to keep going. It's beautiful. So I've got, here's my 1, 4, 5, 6. Again, nothing wrong with it, but this one uses efficiency in direction and consistency in voices, right? Beautiful. I love those. Okay? The next one, yes, question?
What fret were you on for the G shape?
For the G, you can just put it, it's basically a C chord, you just put it up to 10.
And that was for the E minor.
For this is for the 1 chord of G. I threw in an extra one there. I did a different way of playing the 1 chord, but the E minor was 7 on the A string and 5 on the D string. Perfect. Any other questions before we do the, what are we on? E, key shape of E. Okay, most people avoid playing things in the key of E or key shape of E. I love it. Yeah, I'm a Dashboard Confessional fan. If anybody remembers, like back in the day, like Swiss Army Romance and Standard Lines, he did everything in open E. That's where I learned these voicings. Anyway, the key shape of E is fantastic, okay? We might not think it now because my 1 is E, my 4 is A, that's fine. My 5 is B. My 6 is C sharp minor. We don't want to do this, right? We're going to do it. This is what I like to do for the E. Now I said no bar chords for this, so you technically don't need a bar, but instead of the E, these 2 notes are going to be kind of do a tiny bar with my index finger. I have open, 2, 2, 4 with the pinky, 0, 0. You can do 2 fingers on this if you want to as well. What this will allow me to do is when I do my 4 chord of A, I'm just going to move my index finger down a string, directionally down a string. That's my 4 chord of A now. My 5 chord of B, I'm going to keep the pinky. The pinky will stay consistent for this. Index and ring. It's basically a B power chord on 2, 4, 4 on the A, D, and G strings. Now for the C sharp minor, I'm just going to invert the index and ring, switch them. That's my C sharp minor. So if I was doing A or E, A, B, C sharp minor, see the consistency of voices? You hear that every time. It's beautiful. This was the Reckless Love voicings. I think it was recorded in G flat or A flat or something. I've not heard that in a while. That might not even be how the song goes, but I know those chords are in there. Anyway, so whenever you play that in G flat or F sharp, capo on 2, and then just go to town with those. They're beautiful. Now another thing you can do is you can actually just play the E shape bar chord and take the bar off. To do that. Has anybody heard the Kings of Leon song called Fans? They use those. That was like the first time I remember as a kid I really heard that. Anyway, so those are the key shape of E. We shouldn't be afraid of it. We should love it. A good musician is a musician who not only can enjoy anything that they're playing, whether it's a certain song, a certain style, a certain genre, or a certain key, or a certain scale or a certain chord, not only enjoy it, but fall in love with it. The best musicians are the ones that are in love with what they're playing. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I have to teach Taylor Swift, and I have to get in that mindset, and I have to learn to fall in love with it. But I'm telling you, it's so much more enjoyable when I've learned. I actually fell in love with Taylor Swift's song Delicate when I was teaching it to a student. Like, I found the magic in it. I've created these different voicings for it. So learn to fall in love with what you're doing, even if you don't like it, okay? It's quite the challenge. Anyway, any questions on that before we do the final shape? Okay, D shape. 1 is D, 4 is G, 5 is A, 6 is our dreaded B minor, but we're gonna get through it, okay? 1 is D, 4 is G, 5 is A, 6 is B minor. Let's change this up. For my 1 chord, I love a sus2 voicing, a suspended 2 voicing for a 1 chord for worship music. We're gonna do it. Take the middle finger off. That's my 1 chord now in the key of D. I love it. You can put that 3rd in there. That's totally fine. My 4 chord of G, I'm gonna keep consistency in voices. Everything the same, but that middle finger's not doing anything. Kind of looks wrong right there, so let me put it on the low E string on the 3rd fret. So that's my G chord. Now that's my 4. It's actually a D with a G in the bass. This is where I'll post something like this on Instagram and I'll have the keyboard warriors. That's not really a G chord, it's a D. I'm like, it's working. It does not matter what you do to a chord. I don't care if you create an inversion, add color tones, add extensions, whatever it is, as long as you do not change the quality or the function of that chord. The quality of this is a G major chord. This is my 4 from the key of D. This is a G major chord. I didn't change the quality, it's still major. I also did not change the function. The function is how it functions within the diatonic system or the Nashville number system. This will still work and still function as a G chord. I can use it. So as long as you don't change the quality or function of your chord, please have fun with it. It will help you fall in love with that a little bit more. So that's my 1 chord, that's my 4 chord. The 5 chord, I'm actually going to play an A sus4. I'm going to keep the D and that open high E consistent, okay? It's just an A with the ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, and then my B minor, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my index finger, move it up 1 string. It's nothing open on that low E string, 2 on the A string, open on the D string, 2 on the G string, and 3 on the B string, and open on that high E. That's my B minor. So here's what we had. Again, let's think visually with this, okay? Here we go. My B minor always sounds out of tune, and I know how to play the guitar, right? Bar chords to me, they can really sound out of tune. It's because I don't have a finger like a capo, I have a finger like a human, okay? And I'm getting up there in age, and I've got wrinkles in this, but... So there is a legend when I do teach these classes that I'm the girl who broke her ring finger to play the A-shaped bar chord correctly, and the short answer is yes, I did that, but long answer is it wasn't just a break, it took time. But I can now form a 90-degree angle with my ring finger. My other hand cannot do that. But it is amazing. I spent about a year of my life when I was living in Nashville. Every night I would read book. I was reading, I was my Steinbeck phase. I was reading East of Eden at the moment, and I remember reading East of Eden and just smashing my finger down and just cause just enough pain where I know in like 6 months I'm going to see a difference here. It's really worth it. It can happen. Another thing that you can do is you can actually work on stretches. I have actually been able to grow my left hand longer than my right hand. It's amazing. And I'm an identical twin, so I like measured up with my twin, and it's pretty fascinating how you can change your body to fit the instrument. But at the end of the day, please remember this instrument was made for humans, so it is doable. Anyway, so that was the old way. Here's the new way. 1, 4, 5, minor 6. See this consistency of voices every single time, that high E and B string every single time. So let's do a key that we might not like. I'm going to choose the key of E flat. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, let me first find the 5 cage system shapes of the E flat chord. I need to find one note, E flat, 6th fret on the A string. Find it on that A string. Form E flat in the C shape, E flat in the A shape, G shape, E shape, D shape. I took down the octave, and then C shape here. Before I get into this, I know I explained how to do this, but you know me, I'm that bottom line type of woman, right? They're all up here. So here's the key that you have. You're all getting this. You don't have to, you can take a picture if you want. You're all getting it. It's on that link, so definitely do that. And this is a good time, if you've not yet done it, take a picture or video and post it to Instagram. Tag me, tag ReFuel. Win that gift card, okay? Here is every single key. So E flat. key shape of C, I could do capo 3, key shape of C, capo 6, key shape of A, capo 8, key shape of G, capo 11, key shape of E, capo 1, key shape of D. Let's do it. Notice these are all cyclically. They're all cyclically done. They're mapped out starting with C. So if you wanted to find the 5 cage system shapes of E flat, great. If you don't, just download that. Okay, there you go. So I've got capo 3. Let's do 1, 4, 5, 6 in the key of E flat in the key shape of C. Beautiful, right? E flat never sounded so good. What's my next option? Capo 6, key shape of A. Here we go. It's so beautiful. What's the next one? Capo 8, key shape of G. Again, I don't really like going past the 6th or 7th fret, but we got to show you that it can be done. Here we go. A little high, but we're okay. Then we've got capo 11, key shape of E. Wouldn't do it unless you need a mandolin, but it can be done. Key shape of E. I do teach mandolins, so it's a joke. Okay, capo 1. It's probably what I'd go with. But then again, it might depend on maybe there's another acoustic guitar player. Maybe I have to change this. Maybe I have to go up a little higher. They're beautiful. Not intimidating, right? Because they're the same shapes. I mean, if you have this chart and you can form these shapes that I talked about today, like you can form the chord voicings, no matter what key you're in, if you have this chart and you can do that, you can play any song in any key. It should not be intimidating. We should be able to do this very easily. We should always be in control, because the more in control you are, the more you can serve the song. Okay? Now, what was I going to say regarding this? Oh, darn it. If I remember, if it's super important, it'll pop back in my mind.
Do you have
Yeah.
chord charts for those preferred voices?
I actually do, and you know what? I don't think I have them on my link, but I do have a tab. Actually, my computer's in there. What I'll do, in between these, I think there's the lunches after this. So if you go to this link, if you scan that code or take any of those cards, guys, please take them. I printed them so that you could take them. I'm going to put up one of these that will say new chord voicings, and you just click on that and you'll get access to it. They're in tab form.
Cool.
So it'll say like key or whatever the key shapes are. And I think I put both of the E ones for that too. So yeah, definitely check that out. What was that?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Who said that?
Thank you.
That's a word I don't hear very often, so thank you so much for saying that. That really makes me feel like everything is worth it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do it for that, but thank you for saying that. So if you scan those codes, it will take you to this page. Again, definitely check out this. It's completely free. Come hang out with me. It's also recorded. You don't have to attend live. If you want one-on-one lessons, this is what I do full-time. Online courses, I'm going to be launching that at the end of January, but you get a free course, Fretboard Formulas course, okay? These are 2 classes I teach during the week. The capo chart is what we did today. That's that capo cheat sheet. The cage blueprint for the key of C was what we did at the beginning of class. If you do want this for every single key, I'll actually put that option as well. I'll do caged shapes for all keys. I'll put that one up there. And then we're going to be talking about the major scale diagram for, no, that's not it. It is it, but it's not the, here, this is what I meant. For my lead guitar class, is anybody coming to that? It's going to be a party. I'm gonna tell you my Josh Baldwin story if you come into that class. It's a great story. Josh even brought it up today when he saw me. We have a great story, guys. So I'll tell my Josh Baldwin story at that class. It's gonna make you come. Anyway, we're going to talk about this. This is gonna get really exciting. So it actually does. I'm a big believer in building upon what you have already learned. So we're going to talk about the cage blueprint. But again, we don't have to be doing this with our fingers. We don't have to be shaping all of this craziness. As long as you got it. So, did we learn something?
Yep.
Learned a few things? Does anybody feel overwhelmed? A little bit? Is it overwhelmed right now where you understand the concept of what I'm doing? It's just going to take time to hash this out with the fingers. That right there is a healthy place to be. If you are leaving this like, I know everything. I could do this awesome. people that might make them a robot, because that's not completely normal. But that's, if you are, God bless, keep going with that. If you are right now feeling, I am overwhelmed by this, I'm not necessarily confused. It's overwhelming, not confusion. Is anybody here confused? Because I will not leave this room.
Slightly.
Slightly? Okay, if you do have any questions, yeah, go ahead.
If I'm understanding this
Mhm.
correctly, let's say a song's in D flat,
Okay?
okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I can go to the first fret
Yep.
and play a C
As if it's in C.
and just use the C shape.
Yeah, and if this is the shape of the one chord. So if I'm in D flat, I'm going to
And
be
I'm
capo
playing
one.
it with the normal
Correct. So
fingering like a C.
correct. I'm in the key of D flat. I'm in the key shape of C, so my one chord is a C shape. It's going to look like that.
With capo.
So this key shape is I'm pretending to be in this key.
And I'm playing the A on the fourth fret.
So I could be in the key of A if I wanted to be. Or key shape of A.
So it says the fret number
So this
for
is
the
the
key
fret
shape
number
of
for-
A and D flat is on the fourth fret.
Yep. So if I wanted to play, if there was a song in the key of D flat, and I wanted to play it as if it was in A, if I wanted to use the A chord as the one chord, the D shape as the four, the E and the F sharp minor, 1,
Right.
4, 5, 6, and A, I'm gonna capo 4, pretend I'm in A.
Okay.
This
Capo
key
four.
shape, that's a fancy way of saying we're pretending we're in that key. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Lessen the confusion there?
Yes.
Perfect. Anybody else confused? Okay. Maybe you are, and you're like, I just want her to stop talking, so I'm not gonna say anything. If you, back to what I was saying, if you are overwhelmed and you understand the concept and you know it's gonna take a while, that is a healthy place to be. I would rather you understand the concept and be kind of intimidated by putting it all on the guitar. Concept over everything. Big idea over everything, okay? Visualize this. Look at this chart. Pull up a chord chart from Planning Center and kind of figure this out. Pull up a National Number System chart. Make sure that this concept makes sense. Other than that, it's just taking time to allow it to physically manifest under our fingers. This is a language. Okay, if I was teaching you Russian right now, I would not recommend you to walk out this door and read War and Peace in Russian, even though that is a dream of mine because that's my favorite novel. But I would probably teach you the fundamentals of speaking the language first. Probably teach you the alphabet. Probably teach you these little things, little words and phrases. This is a foreign language. This is a tongue. Okay? I'm not expecting you to speak it fluently right now. But if you know the formula, what we talked about today, you can plug in anything and the fluency will come in time. Memorization is a word that I really do despise as a teacher. I don't want you to memorize any of this. I want you to understand the formula of what we've done, where we found the root on the A string, we formed the 5-cage system shapes, where the index finger bars is the capo location, the cage system shape is the one chord, the new voicings. That is the formula. Reiterate the formula, reiterate the concept, and the fluency will come in time. Does that make sense? So you are in a healthy position if that's where you are right now, because you absorb more right now than you did. You're gonna go home right now, well, not hopefully right now, you're gonna go home tonight, when your head hits the pillow, you will be a better, more educated guitarist than you were when you woke up. It does not matter how fast you're moving as long as you're moving in the right direction, okay?
Should we experiment with this tomorrow morning during worship?
100%. Yes, please make a ton of mistakes and blame it on me. There is this crazy Italian girl that came in and changed the way I think. Yes, but I always say, instead of experimenting with it immediately, just look for opportunities. Pick one song you're playing tomorrow and think, we're playing a song in the key of D flat. I could play this capo 1 and pretend I'm in C. I could play this capo 4. Just think about it. Look for opportunities before you start experimenting. Does that make sense? Perfect. Very good. Any questions before? Yeah. And I will say, I'm just going to be hanging around here a little bit. So if you do have questions while I'm, whatever, you can come up. But if you guys need to leave, please leave. I know there's a lunch that you need to go to. Please take a card. Please scan that code. Please post a video or picture on Instagram and tag me. You could win, okay? Yes. You got a question?
Yeah, just obviously there are a million variables that go into which of these
Mhm.
you prefer or would choose
Yeah.
to use. But what are kind of the first few things that go through your head when you're thinking, okay, I'm in D
Great,
flat.
great.
Am I gonna emulate C, A, G? What, you know?
Very good. So one thing I think about is what we brought up before, what does the band environment look like?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a normal situation, okay? Then I got drums, bass, keys, other guitars, okay? I always find two options, a low register, a high register. Now some people say I'm going for that G shape every time. I want to be in the key shape of G every time. Great, make that, but find a second option. You always want to be an asset to your team, not a liability, okay? Have two options. So one, for me, I think low and high. If I was in the key of D flat, I'm thinking capo 1, I'm thinking capo 6, okay? That might not be your options right now. It could be, let me find an easy option, and then the second easiest option. Great. Because you will be in a situation, I guarantee you, where a guitar player doesn't know this, and they just know one option. Always know two options of everything, okay? Yeah. Make sense?
Yeah.
Very good. That kind of tied in beautifully to your other question. That was really good. Yes?
I think it's worthwhile to say that when we have two guitars, it's really nice to do
It is,
that.
that's fantastic. We've probably been in those positions where we're playing the same thing, and
Uh-huh.
the only time that works, where it's the same shape, same strumming pattern, is the Grand Ole Opry. I remember I saw Porter Wagner at the Grand Ole Opry back in the day with Loretta Lynn, and they were literally two people playing the same C shape. I'm like, it sounds great in here. It's not going to sound good anywhere else outside of that. But yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything else? Excellent. Well, guys, I always tell people, I obviously I've said it, I'm not married, I don't have kids right now, so every person that is a guitar player, I think of you as my children. I'm a guitar mom, so please, if you have questions on anything, I will be on this campus every second of the rest of this day. You are not bothering me by coming up and asking me questions, okay? Excellent. Okay. Find me on Instagram, follow me. Tag me in things. If you post yourself playing, tag me. I want to be fully invested in every single person in here, okay? It is truly an honor to be able to help you on your guitar journey. There's no greater calling, okay? And please think so highly of yourself, not in a prideful way. True confidence comes from knowing your identity in Christ and what He's created you for. It does not come from ego. Please know He has created you for this. He has called you for this, and you're far more than just a guitar player, okay? God is the artist. You are the instrument. This is an extension of that.
Good.
Love you all. Thank you so much for being here.